guys, welcome back or welcome to my channel. For those of you who are new here, this is my son Aiden. He is currently 9.5 months old, and if you couldn't already tell by today's title, we are going to be filming his 6 to 9 month update as well as talking about our sleep training process. I am going to try to keep him in the frame as much as I can just because this video is all about him, but he is on the go, so I don't think that'll happen. But we will give it a try. I do have some notes written down right here, so if you guys see me looking down, it's just me looking at the notes to try to keep this as organized and efficient as possible with this little guy. If I didn't, this video would be an hour long. Guys, I know it has been a minute since I have been on here, and there's literally no other excuse other than, you know, motherhood just getting the best of me, and yeah, and laziness kind of too. So I am sorry, and for those of you who are still with me, I truly appreciate it, and I hope that you guys enjoy this video. So to kind of catch you guys up, I'm gonna just kind of give a quick recap of the 4 to 6 month stretch. At this point, he said his first word, which was mama, and he started saying dada as well, which has now become his favorite word. And he was also starting to roll back and forth on his own, and he was completely sitting unsupported by the 6 month mark. So 6 months comes around, and the first thing that I noticed when that 6 month mark hit was his signs of readiness to crawl. He was trying so hard to get his body off the ground, and you could see his excitement and how bad he wants the toys in front of him when they are placed in front of him when he was trying to crawl. Soon after this, he started to get on all fours and did this like rocking motion. It was really adorable. So I knew from that point that he was going to be crawling soon. The second thing that he started doing at 6 months was he started like standing with little support. And what I mean is, like, if you put him in a standing position like this, you could just like hold his hand or something, and he would be able to stand up with very little support. At this point in time, Aiden was eating solids twice a day. Before then, he was only getting them once a day just to get him started on new foods. But when the 6 month mark hit, we started to do solids twice a day, and he was taking, I think, about 3 naps a day. Yeah, 3 naps a day. Go baby, go baby. Go baby, go baby. 3 naps a day, and going to bed at around 7 o'clock every night and waking up at about 7:30 or 6:30 in the morning. This was kind of horrible because I didn't go to bed until 10, 11 o'clock, and we were waking up at 6 in the morning. So him going to bed at 7 was like super unideal, but we were just kind of following his sleeping cues, and by 7 o'clock he was just done for the day. He was still waking up around 4 or 5 times a night at this point, and I had been just losing my mind. I mean, I was so sleep deprived by this time that I was just so ready to make a change, and this is when we decided to get serious about sleep training. I'm not gonna touch too much into the sleep training journey while I'm telling you guys the 6 to 9 month update, just because you guys know me, I love to talk and I could talk about the sleep training thing forever, so I'm going to try to stay on cue and just talk about it towards the end of this video. So when 7 months came around, by the 7 month mark, I think within the first week of him being 7 months old, he started crawling, guys. Oh my gosh, this was a game changer. I know it's not that big of a deal because some babies completely skip the crawling phase and go straight into walking, but for me, this was a huge deal. I have never been so proud of someone for doing something ever. He was so proud of himself. You can see in the footage like his face light up when he realized what he was doing. I was actually bribing him with a phone to get him to do that. It was just crazy because I was just filming him like I always do, and I actually caught his first crawl on camera, which was really neat. After he got down crawling, he soon started to learn to pull himself to standing on objects. He would stand up on anything and everything that he could possibly see. And this was a very hectic and stressful time for me because he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know how to control his body. And so he was falling constantly over and over and over. And I know, you know, that's what they do. They just have to learn. And he did learn. And it stands with no problem now. But yeah, it was rough when it comes to the bumps. Ooh, you okay? Speaking of, you okay? Come here. But yeah, it was rough because he was getting hurt a lot. But it really started, the standing thing really came to a struggle when it came to our sleep, because as I said, we started sleep training aggressively at 6 months. And when he learned to stand up, it pretty much threw all our work out the window, and he was consistently waking up again because the first thing he would do when he woke up was go to stand up. You're not sleepy. You're not sleepy. He just woke up, so that's why his hair is kind of crazy. So, see, don't mind me. I just have bed head. I just have bed head. Okay, he's not gonna want me to hold him. I knew it, guys. Where was I? Oh yeah, him standing up in the crib was just horrible, horrible, horrible. He couldn't put himself back down, and so I was constantly having to go in there and soothe him back to sleep because I couldn't lay him down awake because he would just immediately stand up. The next thing that happened in his 7 months, I think it was about 7 months and 1 week when it happened, he got his first tooth. It was the right bottom one, and then a couple days later, the left one came in like back to back. And with a week of them showing, they were like fully grown. It really surprised me because I honestly didn't know that teeth grew out like that fast. But yes, within 1 week, he had 2 bottom teeth. The next big thing that he started doing was reaching for people. He like started reaching for me, like that he wanted me to pick him up or he wanted his dad, so on and so forth. And that was super exciting because, you know, it was more than just crying to let me know that he wanted me, you know what I mean? So it was really, really sweet for that to happen. At this time, he was still eating solids twice a day, but I started to incorporate some snacks like these puffs, yogurt bites, stuff like that. As soon as he was crawling, I went to the store and got some of those, like the crawling snacks, because I was just excited, and he absolutely loves them. At 7 months, he was going to sleep at about 7:30. Yeah, 7:30 at night and waking up at about 7 a.m. At 7 months, he was very consistent with this bedtime and wake up time. He, every single night, went to bed at 7:30. Every single morning, woke up at 7 or 7:15-ish. I mean, it was always within a 15-minute window of those times. 8 months comes around. 8 months comes around, and he started giving hugs and kisses, guys. I would literally like, and he would come give me a kiss, and he just has me and my husband so wrapped around his finger with this kissing thing. I mean, it is just so adorable. I would show you guys, but he never likes to do it when I want him to, so I'm literally not even gonna waste my time. The biggest thing in 8 months though is he started walking along furniture. He would walk along the couch and walk along walls, or whatever he could stand up on is what he would be walking against. And that's when I introduced one of those little walkers that he could hold on to and just push along, and he wasn't a fan of it. I have to say, I mean, he hardly uses it to actually walk with. It's more so just like to play with. But this couch is probably his favorite thing. He has like mastered it at this point. He's like running along the couch when he wants to get someplace. If he's by this couch, he will not crawl at all. He will walk all the way around the sectional to get to you if you're on the other side of it. It's kind of crazy. At the 8 month mark, he started also showing, like, he started being very, very clingy, which is great and it's sweet because I love to hold my baby and I love that he wants me. But obviously when, you know, you're trying to get something done, the clinginess is not fun. It is not fun. His separation anxiety like really started to come out. I mean, he would be in the living room here with his dad, and I'd walk to the room to go to the restroom, and he would just be wailing, screaming, unconsolable because I left the room. I know my other moms out there know how frustrating this can be. I mean, it's still to this day happens all the time. He is just attached to my hip, which I love. It's a love-hate relationship. It really is. You want a snack? You want a snack? Come here. Come here, baby. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. I know there's gonna be a lot of cuts and edits with this. The next thing he started doing when he reached that 8-month mark is he started exploring. And what I mean by exploring is he started to crawl much further distances than he ever had before. So like, for example, I would sit him down here in the living room and I'd go in the room for whatever reason, and he would crawl in there, and all I would hear is his little hands on the floor, like making his way into the room. And he started to crawl like to the other side of the house back there and all the way back to the living room. So he really started to get out of his bubble with where he wanted to go. You go, go, go. Go, go, go. Besides for all that, at 8 months, I started giving him his 3rd meal a day. So between 7 or 8 months is when you want to introduce, you know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I didn't feel it was necessary at 7 months, so I started at 8, and he does so well. Sorry guys, I'm gonna have to cut that out because he just like screamed and threw all my stuff all over the floor. So I think I was saying he eats solids 3 times a day now. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then of course his snacks that he eats throughout the day. I am still nursing, guys. Oh my god, I feel so stuck at this point. I am just still nursing on demand. I couldn't even tell you guys how often I'm nursing because I'm not one to keep track of it. I just can never remember to get on my phone and press the start button when he's nursing. But I'm just kind of nursing on demand, and he just still will not take a bottle. I mean, whatsoever will not take a bottle. I have tried every bottle, every sippy cup, every regular cup, every cup, every straw, everything you can imagine to try to get this kid to confidently take a bottle, and he just will not. And so I was mentally done breastfeeding at around 6, I don't know, probably about 7 months when he got his teeth. I was just so done, and here I am 9 months in, still breastfeeding because he still will not take a bottle. I honestly think that I will just continue until he's a year. I mean, I've already made it this far, but yeah, definitely feel mentally stuck with the breastfeeding, so it definitely sucks. Did I tell you guys what time he goes to bed now? I don't know if I told you. At 8 months, he started to go to sleep at 8 p.m. and he wakes up around 7:30, sometimes even 8 o'clock in the morning. And at 8 months, he was sleeping fairly good throughout the night. He wakes up once to twice. At that time, he was waking up at about 4 a.m. to nurse, and then he was good till about 6 or 7, and I'd bring him in bed with me, and sometimes I can get him to sleep a little longer, and sometimes I couldn't. So 9 months, finally, we're at 9 months. So since we still have 2 more weeks, I know we're probably in store for more things. I kind of think that he will be walking by the end of this month, but the first thing he showed me with his 9-month mark is he started to stand without support. He hasn't mastered it yet. He will only do it for about like 20 seconds at a time, but he'll stand there without support, and it's really, really cool. And that's what makes me think that he's gonna be walking any day soon, because he just is on the freaking go. Another thing this month is he is seriously into everything. This has been the most serious month about me baby-proofing things. I've had to get on the floor and look around and baby-proof seriously everything, because he's at that point where he can get his little fingers and pick small items up and put them in his mouth and so on and so forth. So yes, he is into everything, and he is like a crawling machine. He speed crawls so fast across the room. It's kind of, it's insane how fast he can get somewhere. I honestly am like, I struggle to keep up with this kid. This month I also started baby-led weaning. So I should have started at 8 months, because he was definitely ready at 8 months, but it was kind of out of laziness. I have reusable pouches that I pour his purees into. And, ooh, he just knocked his face. You okay? It might get a little loud behind the camera. His play area is right behind the camera. I turned off most of the toys, but if I turn off all of them, he will be mad. So bear with me with the baby toys. What was I saying? Oh yeah, baby-led weaning. I poured it in the pouch, and it would seriously make feeding time go from like 30 minutes to about 10 minutes max. He would slurp those things down in those pouches so easy. So it was out of laziness for me not to start at 8 months. But anyways, baby-led weaning, I started this month. I tried to incorporate chewing foods in all of his meals. I talked to his pediatrician at his 9-month checkup, and she gave me the go to definitely start giving it a try. She said, just do it whenever we have time, just so that he has good practice for when that year mark comes around. He is currently, he's currently 21 pounds and 29 inches long, so he's still in his 88th percentile, which is wonderful. So he's perfectly healthy, growing great. However, he has started a sleep regression. So they will go through another sleep regression anywhere between 8 and 10 months, and he has hit his. He has been in this sleep regression for about, I want to say, probably about a week now. We've been doing this, and when sleep regressions come around, I just go in straight up survival mode. He is not waking up a bunch of times at night. He's still only waking up 1 to 2 times a night. However, putting him to sleep has just been hell. He fights naps like crazy. I mean, like exorcism in my lap crazy. He doesn't want to be rocked. He doesn't want to be held. The only thing he wants to do is like be bounced and walked around, like physically walking around. If you sit down, it's like the world just exploded for him. And this kid, I mean, 21 pounds, he's heavy to just walk around with. So no, he's trying to eat my foot, guys. That's gross. That's gross. So yes, it's the sleep regression right now has just been horrible, and we are really trying to just make it through. He's still only doing 2 naps a day, and he goes to sleep from 8 and wakes up at 7 still. So speaking of that sleep regression, this is where I want to talk about our sleep training process. So sleep training. So we technically started sleep training around 4 months. And what we did at 4 months is we want to start breaking those bad sleep associations. Wow. Such as like nursing him to sleep, rocking him to sleep, co-sleeping, so on and so forth. Anything that has to do with putting them to sleep without them independently putting themselves to sleep. So at 4 months, the first thing we did was we broke the nursing him to sleep habit. I legitimately nursed him to sleep every single time he went to sleep, other than if he was in the car. And so that was a big one that we definitely needed to break, because he was extremely dependent on the boob. Excuse me, on nursing to go to sleep. And the reason we even started to break those associations is because he started waking up anywhere from 4 to 6 times a night, every single night. The only way he would go to sleep is if he was being nursed. And that made it extremely hard for me, because I can get no help if he has to be nursed. And so it was definitely a sign that I needed to try something. I was not going to be blessed with one of those babies that just sleep through the night like I was really hoping I would. I hated the thought of having to do any sort of sleep training, from gentle to cry it out, of any sort. I just didn't want to sleep train, but we had to. And it was a struggle for me to accept that, because I had done everything by the book. I mean, everything by the book, you guys. From the second he was able to take a bath, I think he was at like 2 weeks when his belly button fell off, we have done the same nightly routine every single night. We do a bath, we do a massage, PJs, we read a book, we say our prayers, and we go night-night. Every single night, religiously. Religiously, guys. So for him to struggle so bad with sleep like he did was just overwhelmingly shocking to me. And that was besides just the sleep regressions. He was already a baby who constantly woke up. I just never paid attention to it until he hit that 4-month mark where, you know, he should have started sleeping longer stretches, and he wasn't. So first thing we did is we broke the nursing habit. Then we started breaking the co-sleeping habit by starting him off in a pack and play, and that was horrible to try to get him out of bed for. It was horrible to try to get him out of our bed. It was horrible for me and him. I love co-sleeping. I still love co-sleeping, but for our sleep training journey, it just wasn't going to work. He couldn't sleep with me, and us sleep training him, it just wouldn't work out that way. The next thing we did is we got him to sleep on his own. It took about 3 days to do that, and after he was, that is the 3rd time that has happened. My camera just cuts me off. I don't know if there's a time limit or what, but it just cuts off and stops recording. I don't even know what the last thing I said was. I think I was saying he was sleeping in the pack and play. I don't even know, but he was sleeping in the pack and play. And we decided after a few days of that, we were gonna move him into a crib. And so we pretty much had the entire nursery in our room at this point. I mean, rocking chair, crib, changing table, clothes, everything was in our room. And that was a major lesson because I stressed for about 4 months in my pregnancy about this stupid nursery being done, and we didn't even use it like at all for the first 6 months. So we got him into his own crib, and after he was sleeping in his crib well, that's when we decided we were going to try to get him to go to sleep independently, where we would rock him until he was sleepy and then lay him down awake so that he would put himself to sleep. He was around 5.5 months old when we started to do this, and he did cry, but I wasn't ready to do the Ferber method yet, so we were like, come here, come here. I wasn't ready to try the Ferber method yet, so I kind of did my own thing and just laid next to him and played with his hair and sang to him and told him I loved him and that I was here, and just pretty much listened to the crying. A lot of moms like would tell me, like, I don't know how you do that, how you just sit there and listen to him cry. Oh, hold on guys, it's raining, I gotta bring hair in. So I would lay next to him, play with his hair, and sing to him. And what I would do is I would either like put a pillow over my head or put headphones in, and that was the best way for me to deal with it. It was honestly easier being right next to him and knowing that he's fully okay and knowing that he's reassured that he's not alone, than it was for me to walk out of the room. I just wasn't mentally or emotionally ready to leave him by himself crying. Mama, mama, come here. Come here. Say hello. Say hello. What are you looking at? I think he's trying to nurse. So after he started to independently fall asleep, meaning he was putting himself to sleep, is when I was finally getting some kind of ease in our sleeping. Once he... Okay. Brad. As I was saying, that's when we finally got a little bit of rest. I was finally getting some sleep. He went from waking up 4 to 5 times a night down to probably 2 to 3 times a night, and then slowly he started going down to only once a night. He was waking up 1 time a night. He was doing better at this stage than he was at any other point in our sleep training, and we didn't even actually do the sleep training yet. We were just doing like a slight method, I guess you could say, a gentle approach. We were doing a very gentle approach of sleep training. No. Cutie patootie. Oh, cutie patootie. Where are you going? He's so silly, guys. Anyways, you gotta stop interrupting me. You gotta stop interrupting me. Once we were comfortable with that whole situation, we decided it was time to move him into his own room. Once he hit that standing up stage, he it just wasn't working for us. He was just wailing all night long, and we could no longer sleep in the same room with him. So we decided to get him comfortable in his room and pretty much had to restart the whole sleep training process, because I was worried that he was in an unfamiliar environment, and I wanted to make sure that, you know, he was comfortable before I made him go to sleep on his own in this new place. So we just kind of progressed and warmed up with the room, and then we started sleep training once again, the gentle approach where I would stay in the room with him. And then after 6 months of no sleep, I was finally ready, or 7 months. I think it was about 7 months. 7 months with no sleep. I was finally emotionally and physically and mentally ready to actually sleep train and try the Ferber method. So if you don't know what the Ferber method is, it is letting them cry in intervals in their room alone, and you do not pick them up to soothe them. You try to find any other way to soothe them by singing to them, touching them, reassuring them, so on and so forth. Anything other than picking them up, rocking them, anything of the sort. You've got to let them figure it out themselves. And so this is when I said that we got serious about sleep training. This is kind of when we got serious. We did the cry it out, and it really worked. Really worked. We had to wait until he learned to, we had to wait for him to learn to sit down for us to actually move forward with our sleep training. And then after we did it, it really helped. He stopped waking up 1,000 times a night. He was back down again to 1 to 2 times a night, and we are still at that 1 to 2 times a night. He still wakes up to feed at night, and I really want to break that feed, but it's hard because I kind of feel like he almost needs it. Like in the middle of the night, he doesn't just soothe, he like really eats a full meal. So I don't know. I know he's supposed to be ready to drop the feed, so I'm gonna start attempting to drop that within these next couple weeks. But that's kind of just where we're at with our sleep training. My best advice to my moms out there who struggle like we did is progress. Don't do anything cold turkey, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Make sure you progress with things. Start with nap time. Start with the times that, you know, is least inconvenient. Have a lot of patience. Be mentally, emotionally, and physically ready to hear your baby cry if that's the approach that you choose. But with the whole getting them to sleep through the night, I think that's kind of a myth. At this point, I feel so defeated with the sleeping through the night thing. I've kind of just accepted that it's a developmental thing. They will sleep through the night eventually on their own, regardless of what we do, regardless of how hard we, you know, push to get them to sleep through the night. I think he's messing with the camera. But that wraps it up, you guys. I am hoping that I can shorten this video as much as I can, but it has been long and chatty. So if you are still here, thanks for bearing with me. I'm gonna bring him in the camera to say a little goodbye. Okay, say thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys. Say bye. Should we go give him a kiss? Let's go give him a kiss. Let's go give him a kiss. Say, I love you guys. Hi. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time.